10864. Stations your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion. And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
It's not Joey Mack today. It's actually Jordan Brenner. And folks, thank you, Scott Phillips. Really appreciate that. Folks, it's quite simply one of the best days in this building, one of the best days on campus. It's National Signing Day. You probably knew that unless you live under a rock. So pretty much Duck Insider today. By the way, I'm Jordan Brenner. First time, as you can tell. Today's going to be all about National Signing Day and about the new faces that this program's going to be seeing over the next few years. We learned a lot about these players already. Head coach Dan Lanning just got through talking with the media. We're going to be getting to him very shortly. He actually stopped by the Country Financial Studios here earlier today, as did every single Oregon head coach. It was pretty fun to listen to those guys talk. And you know what? Here's what stood out to me. These guys have been on the road constantly. Many of these people, many of these new coaches, haven't even been in Eugene for a week. And for them to take even 10 minutes to come into the studio to talk to Joey Mack and to have some personality to talk about this program with a whole lot of passion, and believe me, that came across. I thought that was pretty cool. And we're going to hopefully, if time's our friend today, get to one of those assistant coach interviews later on in the show. We're also going to talk to or hear from Kelly Graves after he spoke to the media yesterday in the win against Arizona State at Matthew Knight Arena. A lot of things clicking for Oregon women's basketball. We're going to get to Kelly Graves. But first, we got to get to Coach Lanning. That's the main event. His press conference today, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care that you can count on. Let's get to Coach Lanning.
All right. Hey, just extremely excited to be here today. Obviously, it's an exciting day for Duck football. Really pumped about some of the additional pieces we were able to add, to our team and to our program today. Got some great guys coming aboard. I think we were able to attack in a short amount of time. I think our coaches did a tremendous job and our support staff did a tremendous job early on, going to identify some needs in our program and some elite players that can come be a part of what we're doing. So very appreciative to all the hard work that's gone in to not just today, but the last signing period and kind of falling pieces together. It's a pretty exciting time for us.
Dan, I realize there's still potential additions the rest of today. So what do you feel are potential areas of need to address either later today or in the weeks and months ahead relative to the portal? I know there's still a lot of room in terms of initial count. There's a little bit less so relative to 85. I know that always moves though. So where do you feel like, for as much as you were able to address, where there may be still areas that you'd like to address in the weeks and months ahead?
Yeah, certainly still a little fluid, James. I think, we anticipate, probably ending up with a couple more guys here today that we're battling for, that we feel strong about, that we could end up landing. But ultimately, I don't know if there's one position need, because you don't know exactly what position's available, James, if you know what I mean. As things continue to move and shake and shift, I think time will tell kind of what direction we go there.
Coach, I was wondering if you could put into context how difficult this recruiting cycle has been for you, simply because of the uphill nature it presented coming to Oregon late and being handed a class with a school record 16 decommitments. What type of challenges did you face trying to rebuild that class, and how were you ultimately able to succeed that?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think as a staff, it was a challenge, but a challenge we welcome. Oregon's a phenomenal place. We've got ability to get great players here, and I think people just had to have an opportunity to sit down, listen to us, and realize that we have a genuine group here that care. And certainly excited about the group we were able to put together.
Coach, you obviously came over to Oregon while still, handling things with Georgia. But I'm curious, how did you go about managing the changing college football landscape? You have things like NIL and the transfer portal all going on. Can you just kind of put that into context for us, how you adapted there?
Yeah, I think as a coach and certainly just as somebody that's operating in today's landscape in college football, you have to be willing to adapt and change. Ask questions, right? Don't assume that you know everything. And I think we kind of worked through that process together, was able to put a great staff together that sees big picture. And I think it starts there, everybody having a similar vision as we approach, each team right now. I think there's a lot of teams that don't know what direction this will head. And everyone's taking a different approach. And I think at the end of the day, you can look at our approach. Yeah, we're going to look to enhance our program through the transfer portal. But we're also going to spend more time looking to enhance our program through, the high school signees. And I don't know if every program is approaching it that same way, but we still want to be able to develop players. But it's going to change year to year. I think we'll continue to adapt our approach as we move forward.
Coach, in December, you addressed defense primarily. This week, it looks like a lot of offense. Just Justice and Jordan in particular, receiver and running back being two positions where it seems like there might be opportunity early on. Kind of, how do you foresee those two guys maybe impacting things even this fall?
Yeah, first off, I just think they're both really, phenomenal human beings and dynamic players. Obviously, Jordan's a guy that I had a relationship with before my time at Georgia. Also really fortunate enough that Coach Laughlin in his previous job had a relationship with Jordan just in case something like this or an opportunity like this would ever present itself for Coach. So we had strong ties there. I think that he's a dynamic player, obviously has the ability to be a one-touch touchdown kind of guy and get the ball down the field. And then Justice, we're going to battle to keep the best in our state, right? And we think we should be able to keep the best in our state. Obviously, he's in that category. And I think, before the day's over with, people realize that we were able to be really competitive in our state and be able to get guys on board on our team. So I'm thrilled about him, more thrilled about what kind of people both of those young men are.
Dan, you just kind of touched on it there, the importance of in-state recruiting. I know you said when you were hired that you were going to go anywhere the players are at, but how big of a factor is it that there are 3 or 4 guys every year in the state that you can devote time to and not have to use one whole day to go see one person?
Yeah, I know. I think it's huge. I mean, my very first day recruiting, the very first day I could get on the road, I spent that time in Oregon and that time in Portland and in the area. So that'll always be a priority for us. And obviously, for us, we have the ability to go anywhere, and that's a blessing. But we have to win home first.
I know you have ties to a lot of the guys on your staff through prior jobs, but during this type of recruiting process where you guys are all new, like how important is coach chemistry? And have you guys all been in the same room together, your entire staff? Have you had a meeting together?
Yeah, great question, Tyson. Yes, we have. Obviously early on it was Zooms, right? Until, finishing the national championship game. And then getting here, we were able to have several in-person meetings. I think yet to share a vision, you guys have to be on the same page, and it's kind of been a little bit of a frat house mentality for some of us. We're staying in the same house, for a while here while our families get adjusted and get acclimated to the area. So, for us, football doesn't stop, at 7 at night. It's going into the wee hours of the night, drawing up plays, watching film in the basement. Been really fortunate to be able to talk ball. I think we were drawing plays on a mirror last night in a house. So it's been a lot of fun connecting with the staff. And just like I talk about connection with our players, connection with our staff is really, really important. So I've been thrilled with that progress.
Yeah, Coach Lanning, I know earlier today, Coach Martin was talking about how in the secondary, he really likes the speed and length that you guys have added there. Obviously, with college football being, I think, increasingly pass heavy, just wanted to get your perspective on how valuable it is to add guys like that.
Yeah, I think we ended up signing 9 guys that have a track and field background. we signed 5 guys that run under a 10-700, which for us on defense, the way we play, the brand of football we're going to play, it's really, really important. And, in fact, we have a couple guys coming in that are going to be able to compete in track as well. And I know I was excited on signing day, but I think Coach Johnson was just as excited. So that fires me up. But yeah, the game's about speed, right? And we got to be able to run and hit and tackle and catch and block. All those things matter, but speed's one thing that's hard to change. And we have some guys coming in that can do that.
Coach, I was wondering, just following up on that, who is capable of running under 10-7, and that's really fast. And then I guess just players that are thinking about doing both sports. You mentioned there might be a couple of guys. Are you able to speak to who that is?
Yeah, I'm not going to hop into that, but I can promise you, Eric, I can't run a 10-7. So we got some fast guys, though, man. I don't think you have to do too deep of a dive. Like Kamari's one that comes to mind. Terrell from Killeen, he can scoot. So we've got a couple that we've added. Definitely some additional pieces. Got a couple linebackers coming in that can really run. But yeah, it's just a good group in general.
Talked a little bit about Kamari there, but just the importance of him and Jaleel Florence, getting him back into the fold here. Your thoughts on how they fit your defense and just the significance of getting those 2 guys.
Yeah, obviously Kamari, Jaleel, both Jaleels were really, really excited about there in the secondary. All those guys have a track background and speed, but they're just great humans. I think they all wanted an opportunity to be able to sit and visit with us and spend some time. And I think I'm just as excited about what kind of character they have beyond just what they are as players. But one thing they all have in common, they're all long. They all have great speed. So those are big pieces for us moving forward.
Coach Lanning keeping his cards close to his vest when he's talking about those players with speed. But, boy, you could see in his eyes just how excited he is about the speed that is coming to Eugene. Boy, that defense is about to be electric in the coming seasons. Part 2 with Dan Lanning after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back here inside the Country Financial Studios, it's Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Jordan Brenner keeping Joey Mack's seat warm today, tomorrow, and Friday. And folks, I'm going to talk as little as possible today. You want to hear from Dan Lanning. Here's part 2 with the head coach.
Coach, I know Marshall said in an interview earlier that you guys are still kind of behind when it comes to the 2023 class, the 2024 class. Are there things that you can do to try and make up ground in any way over the next couple months?
Yeah, we'll be aggressive in our approach moving forward. You know, we've already been able to have a couple guys on campus with the unofficial period this past month. We'll definitely attack that coming in March. One of the biggest things that we can do as a fan base and a staff is focus on getting guys here for the 23rd for our spring game. You know, April 23rd, 1 p.m. We need to pack the crowd, make Autzen the experience we know it can be. But that's one of the big pieces moving forward. And then just getting more of these guys on the phone, on campus, on Zooms. That's where we'll attack moving forward.
With some of the churn, Dan, the biggest impact was felt in Texas. The class had been lined up with, I think it was 5 or 6 players out of Texas. Kamari comes from there. Obviously, with Drew and Matt and their connections there, where do you see philosophically the approach to Texas Tech? Say it was such a shift or a shift back to really where it used to be about 10 years ago. And it had been a state where maybe periodically they get 1 or 2. They had 5 or 6. Where do you see the recruiting efforts there in the long term?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit year to year. We want to go attack, the players that we think fit us and organizationally wherever they at. And sometimes that's going to be Texas, and sometimes it'll be more in Texas than others. But we have great, strong ties there on our staff, certainly, just like we do on the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest. It'll definitely be a place that we always go have a footprint, and we're going to attack. I just don't know what that number will be like year in and year out.
Coach, I really enjoyed listening to Coach Laughlin and what he had to say on the signing day show. Just his mentality really stood out to me. Can you talk a little bit about kind of where you see your guys' visions lining up and what you kind of like about him?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Locke is a guy that I first got to meet when I was at Memphis. Obviously, was really excited whenever we got the opportunity to bring him here. I feel like he got it out the mud, man. This guy grinded and worked for everything he got. He started off as a volunteer. I look over one day, he's wearing a T-shirt and he's out there on the field. I'm not sure exactly where he came from. And I have an appreciation for guys like that didn't get it with a spoon in their mouth. And he cares deeply for his players. Obviously has some familiarity with the position playing it. But whenever I was able to talk to guys that he helped mentor and put in the league there from his time at Memphis and coaching, it's really apparent the impact he had on those players, and that's something that stuck out to me and our staff bringing Locke in here. And I'm thrilled he's part of what we're doing.
Can you put into just context, just the role Marshall Melchow has for you guys in this class? When he was hired and it was announced, there was a lot of people talking about why it was a significant get for you and this staff. And it's a role that a lot of people aren't really familiar with that are outside of the football industry. Can you just put into context just how helpful he is and his staff is and why it was such a big get for you?
Yeah, Malco. Yeah, he's a stud. He first off, you look and you want to surround yourself with great people, people that you enjoy being around. And Marshall and I got to work together at Georgia, and it was apparent to me really early that Marshall's a lead at his job. Great with relationships, shares big picture vision that I look for. He'll be our chief of staff here, so kind of work hand in hand in all facets of the program. Obviously heavily involved in personnel and recruiting, but kind of a guy that I can bounce ideas off day to day. So definitely a big piece of what we want to do here, and somebody I knew that I immediately wanted to target when I got the job.
When is spring football starting for you guys? How many players you've signed so far do you expect to be a part of that? And then your general philosophy in terms of, is it a case-by-case basis you want a kid to enroll early? Is it, you think everybody benefits from being on campus a little early? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, we don't have an exact number yet. Still kind of going through that process as far as who will be joining us. Obviously, we crank up in mid-March, and then we'll have a little bit of spring break there and then finish up through the end of April. But I like getting guys here as quick as I can, but I want it to fit within their high school experience and them finishing up, the way they have to be able to finish up there. So I do think that's a case-by-case basis as well. They have to be prepared for the rigors of college. They have to be ready to go attack it. But yeah, we want to get as many here as quick as we can so they can, get acclimated to school, be a part of learning our system and how we operate and what we do.
Coach, what type of impact do you see the transfer portal having on upcoming classes?
I think it's changed the game in a lot of ways, not just for us at Oregon, but in college football. You can see it. I think, there's less high school players being recruited at times. That can be an advantage for us because we're going to be aggressive in recruiting high school players. I think teams can change their rosters quickly. It's a little bit of a balancing act. I don't know that we'll completely know the entire impact until we sit here 4 years from now and we kind of do an analysis of what it's looked like. For us, again, we're going to continue to evaluate. I'm not going to have a hard stance one way or the other until we know how it benefits us and impacts us.
Congratulations, Coach. With just 3 running backs until today, and the scholarship running backs, that is, how excited are you to get Jordan James? And 4 still's not very many, right? Going to need to get some more, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty jacked to get Jordan. I'm certainly pumped about him, and I think that we can be creative in our approach. We have some talent at other positions, obviously, on our roster on offense, and we'll use guys in a variety of ways. Even if that means putting a wide out in the backfield, moving people around. I think we can do that here. But we're always going to look to enhance the backfield. I feel really great about the guys we have in that group right now. And Jordan obviously enhances that moving forward.
Dan, what are your thoughts on something that Kenny was saying earlier on the in-house show, talking about philosophically pro style, but extremely fast, 80 plays a game as a target? No one in college football hit that number for the entire season this season. I get that that's a goal to aspire for. Has been done before. North Texas did it a year ago. Duke was close, others. Oregon hasn't done it in a conference game in about 5 or 6 years. And the last time it did it all season was 2012. But it gets a lot of fans really excited because maybe it wasn't exactly their brand of offense most recently. How do you approach it philosophically in trying to do something where it's not just the recruiting tagline, you really do want to go at that pace?
Yeah, it has to be a weapon for us. I also think that sometimes those numbers get skewed a little bit, James, just like if we're in a game and we're doing really well, that pace is going to change potentially down the stretch. So if a game's at hand or if you're scoring quickly, that doesn't always equate to 80 plays. But I know how uncomfortable it can make a defense, and we want to be able to do that in this league. There's two things I think people don't realize. It's one thing to go fast. It's another thing to be fast and efficient. And we want to be fast and efficient. We don't want to just be fast. So that's something obviously that Coach Dillingham has great experience in his past as a coordinator and in this system. So excited to see him carry it over here and see how it fits us.
Coach, you've obviously worked with your fair share of top-tier defensive linemen. A couple guys I want to talk about, get your thoughts on. Got Ben Roberts and Sir Mel. Is just what goes into attacking the trenches and why you think that's so important in this class.
I think size and speed is a premium, and I think you have to get guys. A lot of people have asked me what's the difference in places I've been in the past, and I think the D-line's one of those places where it starts. You have to win the game at the line of scrimmage, period. That's football. So adding those guys are going to be pieces of the puzzle for us moving forward that can certainly enhance our ability, to be effective at that spot. And the defenses that I've been a part of that have been strong have good D linemen and play good along the defensive front.
I was just going to ask just your thoughts on being at Oregon. You mentioned you were in 10 states in 14 days, and you haven't had a lot of opportunity to be around since you've been hired because of recruiting, understandably so. But just as you've been around town more a little bit, just have you figured out some things that you didn't really realize about the program or the school?
Yeah, just the love for the program is so strong. I've been so impressed. We got some time last night to spend with the alumni base, or I guess, Monday night to spend with, former players. And hearing their passion for our program, how much they love Oregon has really stood out to me. We got an opportunity to hang out with Lodi Nada this past weekend, Kenyon Barner, and the hearts. These guys have big hearts. They care about Oregon. To be sitting there with a guy that's won Super Bowls and he's offering to give you a ride or show up to a dinner or just be around, that means the world to me. I'm excited about that. And that's certainly been a welcome surprise.
Love how Dan Lanning talks about how in the short time he's been here, he has formed a connection with some of the great alumni. He may say program, but I think he's quickly turning into an Oregonian. All right, we're going to hear from Kelly Graves after this next break. He's going to talk to you about that big win yesterday at Matthew Knight Arena over Arizona State. That's coming up on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, forest animals. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Back here on Duck Insider, we are in the Country Financial Studios. It's presented by On Point Community Credit Union. You know, folks, stick around. We have the offensive coordinator coming up. That's Kenny Dillingham. He came into the studio this morning with a lot of juice, and we're gonna play that interview coming up. But first, we're gonna get to Kelly Graves, who spoke to the media following yesterday's 72-58 win for Oregon women's basketball. Tahina Paopao, Niara Sabali, they put on a show. They missed very few shots. They were on fire. They carry the Ducks, who started the game strong, a little bit down in the middle, but they finished the game strong. That's what you want. So good in the first quarter, good in the fourth quarter. Here's Kelly Graves on that win yesterday against the Sun Devils.
You guys, I'm really proud of our team. I thought we played well. We certainly played well down the stretch. And in that fourth quarter, again, defensively, we're finding a way to get it done late in games. And then execution-wise, I thought was great. I think we ended up shooting 53% from the field, almost 50% from the three-point line. And that just does not happen against an Arizona State team very often. They're traditionally one of the best defensive teams. They really grind it out. They make you work for everything that you get, and they did today. But our kids came through. Another good effort. We're continuing to take steps forward. Got some things we got to improve, tighten up our defense for the first 3 quarters a little bit, but we're showing some good signs of maturing. And let's face it, Niara, she's coming of age right before our eyes. She's really, really turning into a dominant force out there.
It seemed like there was maybe like a 2 or 3 minute stretch of each quarter where they were able to kind of get you into that grinding style that you referred to that they like to play, but you were always able to kind of weather that and then kind of reassert your style. Can you talk through kind of how that developed and how your group responded to those stretches?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. And you just answered it. I think we responded by, getting through it, making the right plays, usually getting it to the right person. I think Tahina and Niara are both really on point tonight. I thought they were tremendous. And so we ran a lot of specials with just those two late in the game. One you might recognize, we got her the basketball at the Tahina at the elbow and just ran a quick ball screen with Niara at the other elbow. That was something we did with Sabrina and Ruthie for a long time. So it was nice for them to be able to execute that. And then you guys, I thought India in the second half, you know, as much as she struggled in the first half, I thought she showed her real game, how she's a gamer in that second half. So I think, Rob, to answer your questions, I think we just, you know, we executed. We're starting to execute. You can tell our team is playing well together. They've had some time together. They're playing well together, and they're looking for each other.
Fourth quarter there, you know, as we talked about, you've taken runs each quarter, and they had answers to close. But fourth quarter was the one time they weren't able to respond. Maybe what was different in that quarter? Was it just more complete on both ends, or kind of what took place in the fourth that allowed you to kind of push it out?
Well, I thought we had some individuals really step up defensively and do a good job. And we fouled probably a little bit too much there in the fourth quarter. But I thought Kylie Watson really gave us a big lift, especially defensively in there. And she, I think, played the whole fourth quarter, or pretty close to it anyway. And then, you know, Shania, by the way, before I get that question, she's been out. She really hasn't even practiced. So we tried her a little bit in that first half. And I just felt like we didn't need her. So I wasn't going to push the issue. We need her healthy for this weekend down in the desert. But then I thought just Indy T, I thought we had a lot of players do well. And then defensively, I'm going to give a shout out to Maddie Shear. I mean, she had 2 points, but she is important to this team. Jade Lavelle's one of the best pure scorers in the conference, and one of them in the country. I mean, she is a legit big time scorer. I thought Maddie set the tone on her early. She really struggled. I don't know how many points she ended up with, but she couldn't have shot more than 25 or 30% from the field. And I thought we did a good job on her late as well. So yeah, you guys they're finding a way defensively to make it happen late in the game. And then Niara and Kai did a great job pulling down the rebounds late.
Kelly, you've touched on a little bit in both the prior questions, but because we didn't get to see it in non-conference play for obvious reasons, this was the first time we really got to see this big three, take over a game in quite this fashion. We've obviously seen the individual performances already in conference play, though. What was it about this fourth quarter and the presence from them where we're able to now label them as version 2 of a big three?
Yeah. Well, they scored 51 of our 72 points tonight. I don't know how many of those were in the fourth quarter, but each one of them was involved in every set that we ran late in the game. The ball was in their hands at some point. Yeah, I mean, those are 3 really special players. You're talking about 3 all Pac-12 players. Not many people can boast that. So, and they're all different. You know, Tahina was shooting it well tonight. Andy was attacking the basket a little bit. And then she hit a couple, which was really nice. And then Niara was scoring inside, outside, off the dribble, at the free throw line. Maybe hit a 3 tonight. Did she hit a 3? She hit one from deep. And so, yeah, it was just, you know, those are the 3 that are in the end you're going to go to. They're your playmakers. You watch the Lakers at the end of games, and it's going to be in Russell or LeBron or AD's hands, you know, in tight games like this. And so we're just really blessed, James, to have, you know, those 3 really talented players.
Coach, you already touched a little bit on the impact of Kylie tonight, but can you talk about how Elise impacted the game off the bench for you?
You know what? Elise has really bought into that role. And she comes in and she fires it away, you know, and she's a streaky shooter. When she gets on a roll, she's as good a shooter as we have. And, you know, she also took turns on Jade Lavelle. She's got great feet. She's a really good defender. And so, you know, you can trust having her in the game late like we did tonight. Yeah, she's what a godsend. When you look at the top 3 or 4 players we're bringing off the bench every game, Elise Hurst, who, you know, was our leading scorer for the first half of the year. And, you know, and Sedona Prince, who had a pretty good night, Kylie Watson, and then Shania, you know, has shown, and she's given us great minutes. I think I'm probably forgetting, and then Philly as well. So you're talking about 4 or 5 players that can come off the bench and impact us in a positive way. That's what great teams have. But in the end, you know, our so-called stars were the ones that got it done. I thought Parrish had a pretty good second half tonight. I thought it was good to see her make a couple of hoops.
You kind of touched on it a little bit. Diarra has just been playing out of this world, just the lads doing this winning streak. So just what's been the difference with her? Is it just getting healthy? Is it just preparing. What is it exactly that's propelled her and really the team during this win streak?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a lot of things. I think number one, she's healthy, and that, she's still not practicing the whole time. I mean, and that's fine. We decided to live with that. She needs the rest. I mean, if she can produce like that in 32 minutes, guess what? She can take a day off and do some things from time to time. You guys, a lot of you out here are way too young to remember a running back named John Riggins. John Riggins went out, ran for 150, 175, 200 yards on Sundays, and then he sat in the whirlpool for the next 4 days and did maybe a walkthrough one day, and then ran out and did it again, and I'm not saying Niara's to that level, but she's going to have to be big for us in games. So I think health is part of it. I think attitude is another part. She's now having some success, and so she's realizing that she can be a dominant player. I've gotten a ton of phone calls. I guess the WNBA coaches and general managers all winter down in the desert, because I've had about every one of them call me, and they're going to be down there. So they're not going down to watch me. They're going down to see Niara. And she's, I think putting herself into the discussion as being potentially a really good pro.
Kelly, as much as I want to ask about Arizona, I think back to that comment you made in early January about this team sort of being in November mode in terms of how kind of together everyone was. Where is this team at now, and winning 8 straight, given where you were roster-wise at the start of the month? Is this pretty much the best case scenario for what January was going to be?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We're post-Christmas now, big guy. We're into the new year. We're at least in the same year right now. We still have some work to do, you guys. We're a long ways away from where we want to be and where I think we can be. But I thought on Sunday and today we took 2 steps forward. And now we've got to continue to do so. It doesn't get any easier going now down to Arizona. I mean, that's going to be a big game for lots of reasons. I don't care if they get on me. That's fine. Heck, when I first went back to St. Mary's a long time ago, they used to chant hair club, hair club, hair club. So I'm used to people getting on me as long as they don't get on my team. But we're going to have to battle. We're going to have to be really, really good. They're going to be ready for us. The way the game finished here, they're going to be gung-ho. They're going to give us our absolute best. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity and a great test to see what we're made of as a team.
I was over there at Matthew Knight Arena yesterday, and by the way, Niara Sabally and Tina Paopao, they go 16 of 25 together in front of nearly 7,000 fans. Niara Sabally actually steps out and drills a three-pointer. It sounded like there were about 10,000 fans in Matthew Knight Arena yesterday. That was Kelly Graves following that 72-58 win over Arizona State yesterday. After this break, the offensive coordinator, Kenny Dillingham. That's coming up right here on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Dear winter, you can't stop a new 2022 Toyota. No matter the weather, the Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone's comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're going to go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You got to dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Back here in the Country Financial Studios, it's Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. You've been waiting, and here it is. The offensive coordinator, Kenny Dillingham. You know, he walks into this room this morning. From the moment he entered that door over there, had an energy to him. He took over this room, and the whole group was kind of power ranking the interviews today, and it was a hard power ranking because, really, Joey's a great interviewer, number one. Number two, there are a lot of really interesting assistant coaches. This was the number one assistant coach by consensus. Here's the offensive coordinator, Kenny Dillingham.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Is it like Christmas for you guys today? I mean, is it kind of a celebration of all the hard work?
It is. I mean, it's awesome to get to actually know who you're going to coach. You know the kids that you're going to be able to build a relationship with and know the kids that you're going to know really for the rest of their lives.
You're an offensive coordinator, quarterback's coach. Have done that in your career. You've known Coach Lanning. I'm going to ask you your 2-minute life story like I have everybody else. So tell fans about yourself. How'd you get here?
Born and raised, Scottsdale, Arizona. Whole family's from there. Wife's from there. I met my wife when I was in high school. We were actually neighbors growing up. So tore my ACL going into my senior year of high school. So started coaching at 17. Went to a Pac-12 school in the state of Arizona, near Phoenix, Arizona, if you can put that together.
I like that.
And went to school there, started coaching high school ball, coached high school ball for 7 years, 6 or 7 years. After I graduated from that college, I went on and got a graduate assistant role at that college. After coaching 7 years of high school football, I also coached Little League at that time.
Excellent.
I coached spring 6th graders, spring 7th graders. So I've coached every level of football, got into college, didn't have a dad, uncle, brother, nephew, any connection to get into college, got into Arizona State, worked my way up at Arizona State, moved to Memphis. We were really good on offense, so I became the offense coordinator there. When you're really good because you have really good players, because of days like today, right? You have really good players, you win a lot of games, and moved on to Auburn as the offense coordinator. Was at Auburn for a year and then joined the guy who got me into coaching, Mike Norvell, back at Florida State. And then got the opportunity to be here.
And I should remind fans that Oregon fans remember how good that Auburn offense was. You were a big part of that. I remember it. I remember it. That was a great game. There's nothing else we could say about it, right?
It was a great game. But now that I'm here, I kind of wish we would have dropped the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. You know, I do have to ask you a little bit about your quarterback room. That's the most focused on position on the field. It's probably, I think a lot of people would say, maybe you agree, most important position in all of sports. There's so much scrutiny on it. What do you make of your group right now, particularly with Bo Nix coming in and the guys that are returning? What have you seen? What do you like?
I love the group. I mean, I think they have great chemistry already. I think they're guys that are willing and hungry to learn. You know, that's what I get from the group. Those guys are willing and hungry and dedicated. And when you're talking about quarterback play, you have to have the dedication to be great. You know, it's not one of those things that you can show up on game day and go out there and be a Heisman Trophy winner. You got to bring it every single day. So I think as a group, I think we have a mindset. And it wasn't me. It was here before we got there. I think they got this mindset that they want to be great and they want to compete. And not everybody in today's day and age wants to compete. And when you have guys who want to compete, competition builds greatness. And that's what we're trying to do. You know, adding Bo Nix to the fold, we added somebody who's a fierce competitor. And he's come in here and he's just done everything he could to be the very best version of himself. And you've got guys like Ty and Jay who are here, and they're trying to be the best versions of themselves. So if everybody can just be the best version of themselves, if everybody can just compete to be their very best them, then whatever happens, and they're going to be the best version of them, so everybody wins.
And then you always need more than one guy at each position.
That's right.
Yeah, don't you? Kenny Dillingham, offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. What do you look for in a recruit as we sit here on signing day? What's the first thing that jumps off the page to you?
Explosiveness. I want a guy who when he is explosive. I don't care if it's a guard, tackle, center. When you watch the film of a wideout, when you watch the film of a quarterback, a tight end, a running back, a hybrid, an athlete, whatever it is, you should see explosiveness, an explosive tackle coming out of his hips on GT counter at the second level and pancaking somebody, a wideout catching a slant and going for 80, tight end knocking somebody in the dirt and then catching a fade the very next play, right? I'm looking, a running back go for 90, right, on inside zone, a play that you should only get 6.5 yards a carry if you're elite at. And so I'm looking for explosive playmakers. This is a system built for playmakers. That's it. If you're a playmaker, you want to play in this system. So it's a system built for playmakers. I'm looking for explosive playmakers.
Talking about your system, tell us a little bit more about your offensive philosophy. I'll ask the follow-up there.
We're going to be versatile. We're going to be a system that plays, or a pro-style offense that's going to play extremely fast. You know, we want to play 80 snaps a game. We want to get people touches, and we want to be explosive. We want to create matchups because it's a game of matchups. That's why it's a pro-style system, because in the NFL, you don't have a left receiver and a right receiver. You have what receiver do you want to get one-on-one with a certain DB? What tight end do you want to get one-on-one? What running back do you want to get one-on-one? It's a system built around our players to create the best matchups, and we want to do that at a rapid pace because we want to do that and snap the ball as many times as we can so we can get those guys as many touches as possible. So that's why I say it's a pro-style offense that plays fast. And once again, it's a system built for playmakers. If you're a guy who can win a one-on-one, right, we're going to get you in one-on-one situations versus the best matchup in that game.
I just want you to know that as you were describing your offensive philosophy, there was a wall of likes and hearts that came across on the Facebook live stream. So
is that good?
That's a good thing.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
But I'm going to follow up here because Summer also says if you're not following you on Twitter, then you need to for all Duck fans. So your social media game is strong. I've seen it, Coach.
I mean, I guess.
How much do you value that, though, in recruiting, Coach? I mean, I ask this kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it is an important part of what you guys do now.
Well, I do, and I especially think because of, name, image, and likeness, I think it's important for coaches to help brand their players. I mean, I can't get involved in that, but what I can do is I can retweet players. I can create some buzz around prospects, around committing, around, this is an exciting thing, a kid commits or a kid visits. And we can create some excitement about that on social media. And I can't mention the kids. I can't do all that for NCAA rules. But I think creating the buzz and excitement around Oregon, around the Ducks, around, a place that when you think of Oregon, you think of explosive offense. Sure. You think of fun. You think of flash. You think explosion, right? So if you're an offensive recruit, if you're an offensive player on our roster, we need to brand that. We need to sell that. We need people to say, okay, there are elite players on campus. We need to be excited about that because if we get those players, if that happens, right, that helps everybody. Sure. So I think for me, it's more just, it's what's right for Oregon. Oregon deserves to be branded in that way that they've worked hard to get to, and that's fast, fun, explosive. And that's all I'm trying to do is make sure people understand this brand.
Going back to your relationships and coaching for a moment. You've known Coach Lanning. Tell us about Coach Lanning. What should fans know about Coach Lanning? What excites you about working with Coach Lanning?
He's the best football coach I've ever been around, X's and O's wise. There's not a better X's and O's. There's not a better football coach I've ever been around. I used to call him back when he didn't let me call him when I was at Auburn and he was at Georgia. We didn't have as many of those conversations,
right.
But the year that he left to Georgia and I was the OC at Memphis, and the year I was at Florida State, the years I was at Florida State, I would call him going into a game, and I'd say, hey, look, it looks like they're playing 3-match, but they're taking the mic all the way through to the back. It's a little bit different than most teams play 3-match. Tell me why. And we get on the phone. I get on FaceTime. I'd show him the clip, and he'd be like, well, it's the reduced split of the A receiver, so the reduced split is causing them to tandem it. And I'm like, perfect. How do we take advantage of it? And we would talk. He would then get back and be like, hey, question for you. He'd show me something an offense is doing. Is that an auto adjustment or what? And I'd communicate to him. So we've always had that special relationship because I think so highly of him as a football guy. And then you take all that football stuff, and he's even a better human. He's not he is literally an unbelievable person. He's funny, he's relatable, he's genuine, and he's passionate. And anytime you get a person who's relatable and funny, but it's not fake. It's just who he is. But at the same time, he's passionate And that passion is gonna show sometimes in different ways, right? But as long as you know it's coming from a good spot, and you know the passion is genuine, and the passion's because he cares, that's what Coach Lanning is.
Man, that's awesome to hear. And I think that you just fired up at the entire
Did
fan
they
base.
like it and heard it? Okay.
They did. There were so many different things. That, I want to ask you, too, before I let you go, that talk about social media, talk about all these things. You have made a point to say, like, hey, I want to recruit Arizona. I want to recruit the West Coast. I want to do all these things. How important is that for you guys to hit the Pac-12 footprint hard in recruiting here?
Well, I mean, I'm born and raised in Arizona, and when you think of West Coast, right, you see it. There it is.
Right.
It's on your chest.
Right.
It's Oregon. It's Oregon.
I'm in.
When you think of West Coast football, I was just in the South for 4.5, 5 years. You know what those teams think of? Oregon. I was talking to a kid from Florida. You know what he was thinking of? He's not interested in other schools out west. You know what school he's interested in? Oregon. This is a brand that is national. It is absolutely national. And our kids on the West Coast got to understand that, not only is it okay to stay on the West Coast and compete for a national championship, is what we should do. If we want to bring this conference to the next level, if we want to compete at Oregon like we've competed at place in the past, we've got to keep the kids from here to stay at the school that can compete for national championships, and that's us.
I love it. Kenny Dillingham, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the day. Welcome to Eugene. Welcome to Oregon. We're glad to have you.
I appreciate it. You have a great day.
If you're not fired up after that, I just don't know what's going to get you fired up. So I took a couple notes from Coach Dillingham because the group here was just talking about how fired up we were with him talking. All right, my favorite quote from the interview, a tight end knocking someone in the dirt and then catching a fade. That's fantastic. Talking about a pro-style offense that's going to play fast. I think everybody, their mouth was watering after he was talking about that. Talking about head coach Dan Lanning. He's the best football coach I've ever been around, X's and O's wise. Pretty awesome. April 23rd, the spring game, 80 days away. 80 days. We're excited, and we're coming back with more Duck Insider. We're wrapping up after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. They can help save lives by not having play dates. That's right. By replacing get-togethers with virtual play dates and video chats, they can help slow the evil spread of germs. And if your superheroes do go outside, make sure they continue their superhero wing by staying 6 feet away from others to protect everyone in America land. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Back here at the Country Financial Studios, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Jordan Brenner, sitting in this chair, keeping it warm for Joey Mack today, tomorrow, and on Friday. Joey Mack is actually on his way to the airport now. He's getting ready to go break the curse in Boulder That game will be tomorrow, 7 p.m. We're excited. Pre-game getting going on the Oregon Sports Network at 6:30. So it's time now for our 2-minute drill brought to you by Cafe Yum, and we're going to start off talking about Oregon golf. I'm excited for this. You know, anytime anybody from Oregon gets to go to Hawaii, I'm excited to hear about it, and that's what the Ducks are doing. They're going to the Ari Intercollegiate. It's a packed field, 19-team field. It's going to include number 2 North Carolina, the Sun Devils number 3, Oklahoma State number 4, Pepperdine number 6, Stanford number 7, and number 8 Texas as well. So the Ducks going to be facing some elite competition when they get their spring season going tomorrow. I want to talk about Tanner Smith a little bit here in the 2-minute drill. You know, Tanner Smith yesterday was named a third-team All-American in the preseason. This is a guy who I think got a little bit forgotten last year, right, when you're hitting on the top of the lineup with Aaron Zavala, with Gabe Matthews, with Kenny Novan. Tanner Smith set the table for those guys, and he's coming back, and he's a historic Duck. So 5th all-time in doubles now. He needs 23 more. He'll set a school record. He needs 39 more runs scored. He'll set a school record in that category. So, folks, if he simply matches the production he had last year, we're talking about the all-time record holder in doubles and runs. Congratulations to Tanner Smith, who is a preseason All-American. Just remarkable. I can't wait to see him play. You know, I was joking yesterday, or rather a couple days ago with Joey when he was interviewing me. The worst part of my job as the voice of the Oregon softball team was just how little I was able to get to PK Park. I was able to get there for the regional, which didn't end fantastically well. But, you know, Tanner Smith is a guy I'm excited to see for Oregon baseball this year. You know, we're going to have a lot of Oregon baseball coming up in the next few weeks. Tomorrow, though, this is what you can look forward to. We're going to have Coach Lombardi on. That's the head coach of the Oregon softball program. Coach Lombardi is somebody who is always a fantastic interview, but I think tomorrow in particular, you're going to get some really good stuff from the head coach of Oregon softball. That season gets going 8 days from now as the Ducks travel down to Los Angeles. Isn't that unbelievable? I'm not ready for that either because, you know, I came from North Carolina earlier this week. The weather there's a little bit better. It's raining outside. It doesn't feel like spring sports are here. But
well, the ball's going to fly pretty far in PK this year.
Oh yeah, those shorter dimensions. Yeah, Tanner Smith is looking forward to that. Oh yeah, doubles and runs. I'm actually headed over to practice right after this. I can't wait to go see Coach Waz.
It's good to have you here, Jordan.
And the boys.
It's good to have you.
It's great to be here. Thanks for making me feel welcome here, Scott. Tomorrow, Coach Lombardi, we're also going to preview Oregon men's basketball as they try to break that curse against Colorado. It's been Duck Insider. Thanks for joining me. I'm Jordan Brenner on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when